news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 1700 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Tonight on Eyewitness News, we take you to the National Lottery Authority, NLA, where the workers there are on strike, demanding increases in their salaries. We'll be hearing from them. We also have a story from the Mim Senior High School in the Ahafo region, where the security man there has been beaten to pulp by students who accused him of sexually assaulting a female student. Still on Eyewitness News, we'll go to the House of Parliament. The House is expected to resume. We are told MPs have been there all day waiting, but there appears to be no show. Meanwhile, the minority side, the MPs from that side have thrown their weight and support behind their leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, in the wake of controversies around Gold Board and its CEO. That's not all we are focusing on here on Eyewitness News. We would also hear matters relating to that particular Gold Board CEO claims made against Alexander Afenyo-Markin. We have the UP party, which has petitioned the state security institutions to deal with the matter. And then we would also hear from the Minister for the Interior, who has made a very shocking revelation about how an individual who has gone AWOL in the Tolon constituency has had forms picked for him to run as youth organizer of the New Patriotic Party. That and more here on Eyewitness News. We have business news and talk back all here. If you want to join the conversation, 0539 986 996 0539 986 996. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's start off from Parliament, where the House was expected to sit today. We are told MPs have been around all day, but there appears to be no show. Nia Ikwe Okan is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. He's joined us on the line. You're welcome, Nia Ikwe. So the Speaker summoned the MPs who were on vacation, and what has been happening all day?
Well, so Sanda, today is supposed to mark the beginning of a 5-day emergency session that has been convened by the Speaker, Alban Bagbin. However, in as much as the directive was that sitting was expected to start at 12 p.m., the House hasn't been convened for proceedings to commence. But currently, I've seen the first Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, making an entry close to the chamber. Probably, he could be the one chairing proceedings for today. But the ideal situation was to have the Speaker himself, Alban Bagbin, chairing proceedings for today. But since 12 p.m., we haven't seen the Speaker here yet. We've seen the first Deputy Speaker just now, Bernard Ahiafo, making his way to the chamber. Ahead of that, we heard that both caucuses, the minority and the majority caucuses, held a pre-sitting meeting to discuss issues that were expected to take place within this 5-day emergency sitting, and we are expecting that key amongst them would be the referral of the nomination of some minister designate, that's the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology, Dr. Zanato Ajima-Rollins, and then the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Mahama Ayariga, to the referral of these nominations to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to plenary. That is one of the key activities that we are expecting to see happen when proceedings take place within this 5 days. And then also, what we have gathered is that the House would take the opportunity to also consider the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-LGBT Bill, a legislation that has already been passed by Parliament, but following concerns raised by the minority caucus about some issues that they have, the Speaker directed that the bill be reconsidered by the House. We had back and forth from both sides of the House over this legislation, which stalled in the House. So we are expecting that that would also be considered. But as I stated earlier, proceedings haven't begun yet, Sanda.
Interesting. Now, is there an official information as to why proceedings haven't started yet? Do we know where the whereabouts of the speaker is? Have the MPs told you anything?
Well, so the information we had was that ahead of the Democracy Cup, which is scheduled to take place on Friday, that particular trophy would be, introduced or presented to some key institutions before the event itself on Friday. So the speaker was expected to partake in that exercise, and that's the information that we had. So today, the plan was to present it to the Chief of Defense Staff so that in subsequent days it will be introduced to other, state institutions. So that is what the Speaker himself, Alban Bagbin, we are told, is on currently.
Does it mean that the MPs are in the chamber waiting, or they are in their various offices?
Yes, first 12 p.m. we've had quite a number of the lawmakers being in the chamber ahead of proceedings, and most of them would enter, just engage in interactions among themselves, and then walk out back to their offices. Others also come in once they say that there's no major activity or nothing actually going on. Then they have no option than to go back to their offices. So MPs just keep trooping in and trooping out of the chamber. But as I stated earlier, we are hoping that maybe any moment from now, either the Speaker himself or the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Anyafo, would avail himself to chair proceedings for today.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Nik Amarteifio is our correspondent in Parliament. As soon as the House begins sitting, we'll bring you the feed that we'll be receiving from them. Meanwhile, the Minority Caucus had a meeting, like you heard Nik Amarteifio say, and they have thrown their support behind their leader, Alexander Penyomakin. Let's listen to the Honorable Kingsley Nyakun, one of the MPs in Parliament. He represents the people of Kwadaso.
Sami Jamfi, the CEO of the Gold Board, he has to slow down. The allegations he made against our leader, Osahin Alexander Attah-Mensah, was so wrong, so bad, and I expect him to do a reflection and apologize to our leader. Sami Jamfi cannot disrespect our leader the way he did. He is saying that Attah-Mensah, our leader, is an extortionist. He's a lawyer. This is a criminal allegation, and we expect him to provide evidence to what he said.
But do you think he could have just said that without any evidence?
We know Sami Jamfi. Sami Jamfi, we've been with him, in the Central region. We've been doing this communication job for a very long time, okay? He said about Akufo-Addo that Akufo-Addo has received bribes to the tune of $40,000 to keep somebody, I think, at the road and highways ministry, I think so. And this was not true. He also said that Bawumia is benefiting from Haptel. And all these were found not to be true. You see, reputation is important. You cannot soil people's reputation and image. So it should stop what it's doing.
Was that at the table this morning when you had your caucus meeting?
No. Before I address that, I want to let Sami Jamfi know that he is occupying a prestigious position. This is a national entity. For him to be there means that he has been privileged. There are a lot of people who could have occupied that position. So if an issue has been made against that entity of which you heard, your responsibility is to come out with the facts. You come to dispute it, or you come to affirm it. You don't, at the back of it, malign somebody's image because the person has raised an issue. You don't deal with the issue. The issue is that there has been a loss of $1.7 billion, right? equivalent to 22 billion Ghana cedis. And Gold Board is part of it. Gold Board is part of it. So you just come and say that, okay, this allegation, maybe IMF got it wrong. And these are the reasons. It is there. Discerning Ghanaians will listen to you. But the angle he went, insulting Attah-Mensah, using unprintable words at him, is not becoming the public officer. It is not. And you see, John Muhammad, the president, came out with code of ethics. We should go into that code of ethics and see if the conduct of Samuel Attah-Mensah fits into that or otherwise. For me, I'm sad because you see, politics is a service of the nation.
So that's the Honorable Kingsley Nyako, he's NPP Member of Parliament for Kwada. So now this conversation is coming up following allegations made by Samuel Attah-Mensah that the minority leader Alexander Attah-Mensah had engaged in extortion, or at least attempted to extort them. This has got the antennas very high for the United Party, a party that you can call a breakaway party from the New Patriotic Party. His Director of Communications is Solomon Owusu, and he's joining us on the line now for more. Mr. Owusu, you are welcome to Eyewitness News. Sorry, sir, I did not hear you. If you can unmute and speak.
Yes, I'm unmuted. Thank you, Omaro, and good evening to your cherished listeners. Yeah.
Good evening to you. How is the UP party doing? Should I say UP party or should I just say U party?
I mean, Ghanaians know it to be UP plus. It's the party that's going to take this country from a new paradigm.
Riding on what exactly?
Ideology, our honesty, and our programs and policy. Remember, we are the only political party that has a plan. So far, all the political parties come with manifestos, and you know manifestos are a set of policies that are not backed by any actionable plans. It's the United Party that has provided the people of this country with what we call the Great Transformational Plan. I'm sure you have reviewed it on countless number of occasions, and that is what stands out as out of the rest.
The GTP. How is your leader doing?
Mr. Alan Chamantin is doing extremely well. At the moment, he's in Kumasi, commiserating with the Kwamnakese family, that is the owner of Citi FM, who passed a couple of days ago.
All right, let's talk about your interest in this conversation involving Samuel Attah-Mensah and Alexander Attah-Mensah.
So, Omaru, our position on this matter is very simple. An allegation has been made against a minority leader who occupies an official position or a public position that he attempted to engage in extortion. And you know, extortion is a crime. And if we were to even explain extortion, is a person using a force or a threat or any means to take money, property, or receive favors from another person. So when we had the Gold Board CEO make those allegations, we viewed it with the seriousness that it deserved. But we didn't want it to be reduced to the usual radio and TV banter where allegations will be made and it will be left unattended to. And it's the reason why we decided as Director of Communication and the head of legal to petition so that the person making the allegation is made to substantiate, and the one that the allegation is made against is also get the opportunity to respond to. So that's why we are petitioning.
So you're the Director of Legal, right?
I'm the Director of Communication. Apia Dankwa is the Director of Legal.
Okay.
And
has he advised you on the burden of proof in this matter and what you're actually asking for?
So we have nothing to do with this petition. The allegation came from the Gold Board CEO, that is Samuel Attah-Mensah. And so what we are doing is to, as it were, coordinate the issues. Samuel Attah-Mensah, that is making the allegation, has not gone to any police station to make an official complaint, and we don't see it happening. Attah-Mensah, that should have also sued for being defamed has also decided to give it to Jesus or God. We don't know what is happening. But we, our Bible, as citizens of this country, is the Constitution. And looking at the Constitution, anybody that is accused of having engaged or attempted to engage in extortion amounts to a crime under our laws. And so we are calling on the relevant institutions to compel these two individuals to substantiate their positions. And that's what we have done.
Okay, so do you want someone arrested because someone has made a claim, which claim the person is not willing to support? Are you not trying to waste the time of the institutions? What if it is just rumor without any substance? Because have you seen any evidence to prove the rumor or the claim?
That is why we have called on the police or the CID as well as Shraj and then the Attorney General to investigate the matter, to call somebody to have a written statement on this matter. He is saying, and we have heard him either through the accountability series or when he went on News for made the point that he was daring Afenyo to sue him. It means he's holding on to something. And we have stated all this in our petition that the investigation must be widened to cover communications that have taken place, either video, either audio, visual, and so on and so forth. That establishes the point that indeed there was an attempted extortion by the minority leader. Remember, you are a lawyer, you know that the sovereignty of this country resides in the people. And it is in the state that all powers of the state must be exercised to benefit all of us. Even allegation is being made against a public official that instead of he serving all of us our interests, he tries to use the very position he occupies to benefit his own himself. Then it means he's not serving us well. And for that matter, there has to be a thorough investigation in that direction.
If, like you said, Alexander Afenyo-Markin says he's giving it to Jesus, then you will not go far in this your attempt, because if he will be if he is the one who has been accused and he's not interested in pursuing the matter, the one who has made the allegation, who would have the evidence to prove, is not willing to proceed, then you really would be struggling to have any evidence to back anything. So perhaps it would be pointless going ahead on that investigation, don't you think?
I don't think so. What we believe is that any attempt by any of them not to cooperate in investigation will be doing a great disservice to their own integrity. I mean, should Sami Jamfi fail to substantiate the allegation, who would take him serious again? Should Afenyo decide also not to cooperate, who will take him serious again? It lies with Sami Jamfi to prove the allegation. As for Afenyo, you can take him to court and you decide not to speak. He say he who alleges must prove. And so we are counting on Sami Jamfi to substantiate this allegation. I mean, Omaru, it will interest you to know that ever since we petitioned, the amount of information regarding extortion by journalists, politicians against public officials is mind-blowing and mind-boggling. And so it's a national canker that this may pave way for us to have a national discourse on it.
Very well. Wait to see what reaction you'll get from the security agencies. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
That's Solomon Osu, is Director of Communication for the United Party, or UP+. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama is MPP Member of Parliament for the hometown of Dr. Bawumia Wale. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, brother Omar Sanda.
How is
having me, and good evening to your listeners.
Good evening to you. How's Dr. Bawumia doing?
He's doing great. Dr. Bawumia is very terrific. I think he's currently receiving delegations from across the country following the successful regional elections that were conducted across the country and across all the regions in the country. So he's going on with his usual and normal activities of engaging stakeholders and trying to build a party, positioning the MPP for victory come 2028.
And how is your constituency, Wale?
Wale is also very good at camp. Keeps loving people, and I can but to just thank them for so far how they have been very supportive. The people of Wale are actually very understanding that we are in a situation where the new patriotic party has initiated a lot of development projects which have actually been solved following the inaction of the current government. That being the case, they understand that the need for the MPP to come back to power to continue such development projects is quite more compelling now than ever. So I'm engaging them. I will be going back this weekend again after Parliament from our short recall. I'll be going back to engage them as well in a number of development and community engagements across the constituency as well. So Walla is cool and calm, and I have very supportive stakeholders, very supportive regional and constituency executives supporting the work of the party and of government, especially as a member of parliament.
Okay. I just spoke to Solomon, also of the UP, a party that broke away from your party. They have gone to petition the OSP wanting your leader to be investigated over claims that he was engaged in extortion against the Gold Board CEO, Sammy Gyamfi. What do you make of that?
Well, so I think that it is within their right and it's part of their civic responsibility to engage. If there's any information, there's any allegation, there's any inferment or in fact, inference as the fact that a public officer, no matter person, but the minority leader of parliament and a leader of a party that is actually seeking to come back to power. If there's any, allegation of wrongdoing and people so concerned want the state agency or the responsible authority to investigate that is well within their rights. But for me, I feel I'm of the view that we shouldn't be going to town with every frivolous allegation. Some political thoughts are allowed within the political dispensation, but if we are going to be chasing all allegations and then referring for investigation without prejudice to the process, I think that politics, as it were, will also be drawn into the state of absurdity. In fact, the fluidity of the whole political space depends on the fact that sometimes people can make allegations and you don't take them seriously, because if Afanyo were to take this seriously, he cannot be a minority leader. Why? Because he would be chasing every Tom, Dick, and Harry for every allegation they make against him. But for them, the United Party, spokesperson for the United Party, thinking that there is something to investigate, having so submitted a petition, will allow them the process to go on. Like he said, Afanyo has absolutely nothing to prove. And those who made the allegation have every responsibility, and the onus lies on them to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Afanyo had indeed engaged in extortion or has attempted to extort those particular people concerned. So for me and for the minority, it is a welcoming news, but we just feel like it's much to do about matter.
So you don't think that this should merit investigation?
I think that Sammy Gyamfi had said so many things in the past. He has made so many allegations in the past. Even in opposition, he had said so many things that, we just on hindsight, he would say they were political statements. I will not be surprised that this is one of such political statements that this will turn out to be, that he was just making it on the spirit of the movement, and that being under pressure to account for what appears to be colossal loss of money, of taxpayers' money, the only difference is to come at the personality of Afanyo Market. That being the case, I will understand that within the political context, he will be allowed. But I don't see any merit in that. How could Afanyo come to extort money from Gold Board? If the allegations that he's pursuing are true, which is on record to be true, because the IMF report has stated that they have made losses. The losses, as to whose books the losses sit on, is a different question we can raise. But it's not debatable as to the fact that government has made some losses following the gold purchase program that was implemented on behalf of Bank of Ghana by Gold Board. That is a fact. Why will Afanyo extort you on the back of such a matter of fact? In fact, if you think there's nothing wrong, why will you even fall for the extortion? I think that, even again, I believe that Samuel Attah-Mensah on hindsight, as a responsible public official and someone being in government, he shouldn't have even made such a statement. And I think that, it was the lowest point of, it's the lowest point of, his career to have gone to public to make such a wild allegation against a politician, and no less a person, but the minority leader of parliament. But
did Alastair Afanyo Markin not have this coming the moment he talked about onerous bill conditions for Sammy Gyamfi in the future? Sammy Gyamfi saw that as a personal attack against his person, and so he who throws pebbles at one expects rocks in return. So perhaps Afanyo Markin threw pebbles at Sammy Gyamfi, and now Sammy Gyamfi has thrown rocks at him. You should be blaming Afanyo Markin, not Sammy Gyamfi.
Omar, we were in this country when Sammy Gyamfi mentioned that people will be arrested and prosecuted, and that they will be thrown into jail. I mean, he made statements of that nature about the Bank of Ghana, about Cathedral, already prosecuting people in the media, even before they won power. And even that begs the question, some people are asking, those people you prosecuted in the media and said they were going to be jailed, how many of them have you jailed so far? So those are normal political statements everyone will make. So if the leader, the minority leader says that, considering the losses that have been occasioned by the conduct of the gold purchase program, which was superintended by Sami Gyamfi, and the government of Ghana has lost so much money, over 22 billion Ghanaian cedi has been lost to that particular scheme. It is at liberty to infer that those people involved in that particular scheme would have onerous responsibility in terms of the bail condition. For instance, look at 22 billion Ghana cedi that is lost to the country. How much bail condition do you think would be required to get a person out of detention if he was to be arrested?
Except that this person was not directly named as the one who made the laws. Neither was his organization named. The one who made the laws was the BOG. So the question is, why would you blame Kabiru for the laws made by Wunti?
So the investigation would have shown that BOG made losses on the back of a scheme. Which agency operated the scheme? It was the Gold Board that was operating the scheme. Now the question is, who takes the ultimate responsibility in the event that Gold Board is operating a scheme that has resulted to some losses? Definitely. The Nik Amarteifio cannot think ignorance, and they cannot evade responsibility consequent to that. So there's a change of causation. Okay, you cannot just look at the fact that the books of Bank of Ghana, for instance, if the government you should understand that government decide to treat his book the way it was. If the Bank of Ghana decide to shift its liability to the central government, we will say that the Minister of Finance has made some losses, right? But if in the other way around, the Minister of Finance has decided to shift some some debt to the central bank, we will say that the central bank has made losses. But in any case, it is the central government that is making loss. Whether those actors, you see, the Bank of Ghana. The IMF report has spelled out the sources of those losses. And if you look at it, you cannot see anywhere that the central bank has, of course, its own loss. There's no imputation of that particular fact. That central bank, by its own design, has created this loss. If they say, the assay charges, which people take the assay charges? If you go to take money from Bank of Ghana, I say 11 billion, and you are going to deliver gold to me, and the gold you have delivered to me can only be sold at the international market at 10 billion. You cannot say that it's the Bank of Ghana losses. It's the people who took the money, who have come back to me with gold lesser than the value of the money I have given them. So there is no way that, whichever way you turn it, there's no way Sami Gyamfi and the Gold Board cannot shrink from the fact that they are also culpable in this particular whole scheme. And that is the point I think he should have understood better and to, allow cool heads to prevail in a manner that we will discuss it. But if you go to town and because someone has stated that by your own act and conduct, you may be a candidate for prosecution in the future. If the person makes such an influence, you need to come and defend that, no, I'm not responsible. A, B, C, D are those responsible, and what you are making is not proper. But for you to go to overboard, to impugn that such a person is making, institution of a town one bar, and to say that he cannot take lesson from a brothel, all those words were below the belt. And I don't think that Sami Gyamfi should understand that he's now in the responsibility to lead. He's accounting to the good people of Ghana. He's not accounting to the NDC. He's responsible for every penny of the taxpayers' money that has gone to him. The gold that we are selling is for the people of Ghana. The president is only holding that in trust of the people of the country. So I think that he should understand this, and he should move away from the fact that even if they attack you, if Sami Gyamfi had personally been attacked by the leader of parliament and minority leader, he was supposed to leave beyond reproach because he is now representing the state, he's now representing the government. And you cannot even go to the way even people will go at you. When we're in government, people attack us, but we exercise restraint because we are given a mandate to lead. He has been given a mandate to lead. He cannot be speaking as if he's still in opposition. And that is the point he needs to understand.
If it was not a big deal, why was there a report this morning that you, the minority, summoned Alexander Afenyomakin to come and explain this issue around extortion?
Well, so it was not we didn't summon Attah-Mensah to come and explain the circumstances around any allegation of extortion. Matters have transpired within the week. The minority held a press conference. Consequent to that, the Gold Board also came with their Meet the Press series, accountability series. They were back and forth. Matters have come up. Allegation that is not only to the, about Attah-Mensah, but the integrity of the whole minority caucus. So we needed to appraise members on the development. And that is basically what the minority leader, together with the other leadership of the caucus, met to do, to appraise members on the happiness and the next action we are supposed to take. So it was not basically about bringing Attah-Mensah to account or to do anything as the media reported it. It was basically a meeting to appraise each other of the development and our next course of action.
So who called the meeting? Alex Attah-Mensah or the minority side?
It was at the instance of the minority, of course, through the minority leadership. And whenever a meeting is going to be convened, it's the chief whip who convened the meeting.
But the subject matter was to question him on the extortion allegation, was it not?
The members of the minority are clear in their mind that the extortion allegations are baseless, they are frivolous, and they are scandalous. That is the position we have taken. But when those matters come, we need to sit as a house to discuss it. Okay, our position to the fact that they are scandalous and frivolous is not in any doubt in the mind of any member of the minority.
So did you ask him to defend himself?
No, we are actually going to defend the minority leader, and he's going to defend himself. So as a caucus, our position is that wherever Attah-Mensah is going, we are going with him. Wherever he's called to come, we are going with him. At the end of the day, we will know whether or not Attah-Mensah is on the side of truth or it is Samuel Attah-Mensah who is on the side of truth. But what we think as a minority is that Attah-Mensah is only being targeted personally because he's keeping the government on his toes. He's put the toes of the government to the fire. And if your toes are close to the fire, you are basically bound to react. And that's the reaction. It is not even new. Look at even the attack they are put on every member of our side who has come after this particular Gold Board issue. Today, my colleague Gideon Bako was taken to the cleaners just because he raised a substantive issue. Every single member in the minority, whenever you raise an issue bordering on Gold Board, you see them coming after. They unleash all sort of attacks on you. And that is what we need to appreciate. That look, the work we are doing is for and on behalf of the whole of the people of Ghana. You cannot be accountable to the people. So some people will have to let you be accountable. And we are the official watchdogs to provide oversight over the executive. So they cannot be, trying to stifle our responsibility, trying to gag us from doing our work. And those particular machinations, I think that with the greatest respect, will not wash. We are very focused, and the minority leader is very focused. Each and every member of the minority caucus is very focused, and we are going to defend the republic, and we are going to make sure that Ghanaians and the public purse is protected.
As a minority, if you felt strongly about what was said against your leader, why didn't you advise him to sue? Because he has the remedy of a defamation suit against Samuel Attah-Mensah, who was actually challenged him to do that. Why is he not doing that?
I initially, in my opening statement, I stated that one, as a politician, you don't go for every allegation. I give you an example. People in the NDC allege that I had used my common fire in a manner. It bothered on my integrity, but I will never go and sue because those people, you go and sue, you are actually being distracted, right? If it is not something so significant, why would Attah-Mensah go? If it was something in his private capacity, I would have asked that, look, go and sue because this one borders on your public. It has nothing to do with your public life. But if it is something that borders on his public life, something that borders on the fact that he's the minority leader, on the basis of which they are saying he's using that position to extort money from people, you can allow people to make such accusations, especially when it's coming from someone who is at the receiving end of your criticisms. You can understand that will definitely come from such a person. But if it was like something that came out of the blue, there was not something occasioning it, I would have advised Attah-Mensah, look, go and seek remedy because there was not cause that prompted the effect that you are getting by way of the accusation of extortion. But now we know that there's a cause. The cause is that Gold Board is under pressure to account for the huge, colossal losses that we've had as a country after selling gold. And the normal reaction from Gold Board is to also attack, to defend themselves, to say that Afenyombaki is being personal. What is being personal about asking for the account for, Gold Board to account for the loss? What is being personal about it? And you are saying that Afenyombaki is personal because he has come to demand money or is trying to extort money from you and you are refusing. I don't think that is the right response. And Afenyombaki, who will not advise Afenyombaki to go, because if he's going to go for everyone who has made allegations against him, he will lose focus as the minority leader. And we don't want a leader who will be distracted and be distracted by flimsy, frivolous allegations.
All right, let's talk about the Chamber of Parliament. You were supposed to be back to do some sitting upon the summons of the Speaker. Is it happening now?
Well, so we just have indication that the Speaker is now coming to the chamber, and in the next few minutes, business will commence. And we then know the business. We know that they call us back on the back of information that there are some agent government businesses to be prosecuted. We know in the public opinion that some ministers have been appointed. Maybe it may come out as the fact that they may be referred to the appointments committee for vetting and probably recommendation to the House for approval, consequent to which they would approve. But the Speaker is coming in. Once he gets in, and then we then discuss, we then know the business fully, and then we can then communicate back to the guy. But of course,
what time were you supposed to do the sitting? And have it been explained?
So the sitting was supposed to commence at 12. We don't know the reason that, of course, the 5 hour delay that we have. But the good news is that the Speaker has just gone into the chamber, and then we will then know what would happen. But we were supposed to start at midday, 12 o'clock. But be that as me, it's normal. Sometimes they may be in conflict trying to sort out the business, especially so when the business committee had not met prior to today. So the business committee will have also been meeting today again to determine the agenda for the 1 week period or the 4 days that they have called us to sit. So basically, I understand that the delay could have been occasioned by the fact that the business committee needed to meet. After their meeting, they needed to go and have conclave with the Speaker. And after the conclave, the Speaker will then come in. And as I have reported, the Speaker has just gone into the chamber. He will be commencing the process in earnest.
Very well. Then we'll let you also go and take care of that. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
That's Honorable Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama. He is MPP Member of Parliament for Wale Wale. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. I am Umaru Sandamado. Let me bring in Fafa Melody Potife to bring us news summaries from the Citi Newsroom. Fafa, you're welcome.
Thank you, Sanda. Well, from the Citi Newsroom this evening, we have stories from the court where the High Court in Accra has given former GIF CEO Solomon Asamoah and former board chairman Professor Christopher Ameyawe Kumfi another extension to file their witness statement in the $2 million SkyTrain case. Justice Audrey Kokuviti directed them to file the statement by September 23, 2026. The court has also adjourned the case to October 5, while warning that proceedings will continue if they fail to meet the deadline. The two are facing charges over an alleged $2 million payment linked to the proposed Accra SkyTrain project, which was never constructed. Well, away from that, the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has expressed confidence in retaining his position as he seeks re-election in the party's upcoming national elections. He made the remarks after filing his nomination forms at the party's headquarters. Speaking to the National Elections Committee, Justin Frimpong Kodia pledged to conduct a decent and issue-based campaign.
Chairman, normally when you are going for an election and you have the fabric of the party supporting you and they also openly coming out to let you know that they support you, it tells you that you are cruising to victory. And it also shows the organic and natural love that they have for you. I want to assure you that as incumbent General Secretary, I will continue with my campaign based on message on a campaign devoid of personal attacks, on a campaign based on what I have done and what I will do. And I'm sure that by God's grace, when we all meet on 3rd of October in Kumasi, it will be a resounding victory for JFK. But I can assure you that the faith that the rank and file of the party have had in me, I will never disappoint them.
That was the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Frimpong Kudria. Now, away from MPP politics, the Association of Certified Driving Instructors of Ghana is demanding an apology from the CEO of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Julius Nik Amarteifio, over comment suggesting that private driving schools are not adequately training drivers to meet the authority's standards. Mr. Nik Amarteifio said the concerns informed the establishment of a new skills development center. Speaking to City News, National President of the Association, Marshal Bobo B, said Mr. Nik Amarteifio must either substantiate his claims or apologize to the association.
Our demand is that, one, he should come back, apologize to us, because we think that, chastising all of us in that manner is discouraging and a dent, that he's trying to put on our profession. Mind you, the solution he says they are proposing is a one-skill center at head office. And if you say you're bringing a solution to solve a national problem, and you are setting up a skill center at head office to retrain drivers that driving schools are training, how will somebody from Ho or Bolga or Kandai or Dambai who fail to meet your standard from a driving school be sent to head office to train again before being like, how does that make sense? So we expect him as soon as possible to address this issue with an apology or clarify further.
That was the National President of the Association of Certified Driving Instructors of Ghana, Marshal Bobobi. Now, with just 5 days to go until the much-anticipated This is Ghana exhibition, diverse products and services from micro, small and medium enterprises across various sectors are set to be showcased. The two-day exhibition, scheduled for August 29 and 30 at the A4 Sutherland Children's Park in Accra, will feature a wide range of made-in-Ghana products and services. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Managing Director of Citi FM and Channel 1 TV, Samuel Attah-Mensah, said businesses from various sectors, including digital services, hospitality, food, construction and automotive, will be represented.
We'll look at the general makeup of the MSME space. If you look at manufacturing, then you are looking at food processing, agro processing, furniture, textiles, garments, cosmetics. We also now have construction materials, packaging materials, metal fabrication, plastics, pharmaceuticals, machinery and equipment, and more importantly, handicrafts. So, but you also come to the trade space where you have wholesalers, retailers, those in the distribution space, now e-commerce, import, export, consumer goods, and all the things that you can talk about, food, beverages, we talk about light engineering is also happening. Now, we also look at the hospitality space. We are trying to ramp up our tourism.
That was the Managing Director of Citi FM and Channel 1 TV, Samuel Attah-Mensah. Now, the General Manager of Citi FM and Channel 1 TV, Bernard Avle, also urged Ghanaians to be intentional about their spending and support local businesses.
Even in meeting your child's needs, there's a deliberate, so we don't spend by heart. We must consciously build the country on the basis of even how we spend. Our spending choices are part of a nation's development. It's part of our mindset. It's a very important resource. So please, if you love Citi, if you love Channel 1, you love Ghana, come and be part of This is Ghana.
Well, that was the general manager of Citi FM and Channel 1 TV, Bernard Avle. Remember, the 2026 This is Ghana exhibition is powered by Channel 1 TV and supported by Citi FM and is sponsored by MTN Ghana, EcoBank Ghana PLC, and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Looking for engineering excellence you can trust? Welcome to Left Signature Limited, driving progress through technology and engineering excellence. From expert electrical engineering design, installation, power systems, renewable energy, automation and control, to reliable data center and managed services, power infrastructure, network connectivity, server virtualization, cloud integration and data security, and cutting-edge software development, custom business applications, web and mobile apps, cloud and DevOps solutions. Integrity, safety, accountability, teamwork. That's the Left Signature promise. And now, introducing the Left Power app. Request for our services anytime, anywhere. Available on the Play Store, App Store, and on the web. Ready to power your success? Choose Left Signature Limited. Visit www.leftsignature.com. Call +233 256 111 811. Left Signature Limited. Engineering excellence for a connected future. Northern Ghana is making history. The Ghana Exim Bank and North Shore Apro Ghana Limited proudly invite you to the official opening of Phase 1 of the North Shore Apro Hub, a wholly Ghanaian-owned Apro manufacturing enterprise under the 24-hour economy initiative. Funded by the Ghana Exim Bank and partners, this landmark project will create 3,000 jobs at commissioning and up to 10,000 jobs at full operation. His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, will officially commission the facility, joined by the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosue-Jare, and the Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank, Sylvester Adinam-Mensah. Date, Friday 28 August 2026. Time, 12 noon. Venue, North Shore Apro Hub, Sabalugu, near Tamale in the Northern region. Join us as we celebrate Ghanaian enterprise, job creation, and a bold step towards industrial transformation.
These days, some mattresses are being made from all kinds of unsafe materials that are not fit for sleeping surfaces. These materials may be cheap, but they can be harmful to your health. If you haven't slept well, you cannot work and think well, and you are ultimately putting your health at risk, which can cause you a lifetime discomfort and chronic pain. As responsible citizens, we should invest in safe, durable, and certified mattresses. Latex Foam remains the tried and tested brand we all love for almost 60 years now. They offer you unmatched quality and durability for every Ghanaian home. Talk to them on 0302-231-155 in Accra and 03220-29365 in Kumasi for all your inquiries, or walk into any of their outlets nationwide for your preferred choices. Do not settle for less. Go for quality, but Latex Foam, or else you do yourself. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
Hello, good afternoon. I am calling from your bank. We are currently experiencing a system downtime, so we need to secure your account. Please, can you confirm your account number and your login details so we can restore access immediately? Yes, your username and password, just to verify.
Beware of fraudsters. Your bank will never ask for your login details, PIN or password over the phone. Shine your eye. Spot the fraud. Stop the fraud. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Association of Banks.
If you spot the fraud, you go fit to stop the fraud. Make you know they lose God.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM in Accra, broadcasting in Western Region on Premier 100.5 FM, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky 93.5 FM in Takrady. In the Bono region on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. Now, for region on Hammers Radio 106.5 in Goso. In Ashanti region on Alpha Radio 104.9 in Kumasi, as well as Orange 107.9 FM. In Volta region on Global FM 105.1 in Ho and Adanu 107.7 FM in Adakluwaya. In Northern region on Diamond Radio 93.7 in Tamale. In Upper West on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura and Pupeli 92.7 FM in Wa. In Upper East on Source 100.1 FM in Boko. Pure 100.5 FM in Ravrongo, Gumzang 90.1 FM in Tongo. In Northeast on Scarp 101.3 FM in Akpandori and Radio Jimbali 107.3 FM in Jimbali. This Eyewitness News also on YouTube and on Facebook. Just look for Citi FM and follow the discussion there. Let's go to the National Lottery Authority there, headquarters. We are told that the workers went on strike protesting over salaries. Mohammed Abdul Salam is the Director General of the National Lottery Authority. He's joined us on the line. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Why are your workers wearing red up in arms against you?
Well, I must say that the actions of the workers today came to management, first of all, as a surprise because there's been an ongoing negotiation of salaries which has reached a deadlock, which have taken us to the Labour Commission. There's been an attempt to do mediation. The mediation has also ended in a deadlock. So arbitration has been the next line of action. And this was just Friday. So only this morning we arrived in the office to find a letter that was served to the Labour Commission and copied to us, indicating the intention of the workers to embark on a sit-down strike over the unresolved salary matters. And that culminated into the actions this morning. It is something that, as we speak, as of now, have seen some resolution. Because what I did as head of institution was to immediately reach out to the Labour Minister, and he in turn invited the Fair Wages, myself and my board chairman, and then the union leadership to have discussions around the difficulty. The background has been that workers had indicated in their demand for salary increment a request for some 25% salary increments, grounding the demand on the background of some tax audits related to NLA that was carried in 2024, covering the year 2016 to 2022. And the verdict was that some allowances paid to workers were not taxed, which were supposed to attract taxes and all that. And the GRA, the taxman didn't take kindly to that. NLA was surcharged to pay back those taxes. We got the board to accept for the management to absorb it, which was almost 5 million, which we had to pay. And now implemented the appropriate calculations for the taxes going forward. Now, in demanding this new wage, the workers are of the view that having implemented the appropriate tax calculations of the GRA, it has significantly impacted their take-home. That is why they are demanding some 25% salary increment. First of all, to close the gap created by the implementation of the appropriate tax and to benefit from the annual salary increment at the same time. This has been their argument. But you know, in all labor issues, the major issue is one of ability to what? Pay. The cases may be right, but do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the financial muscle to take on board the absorption of all those taxes? Umaru, if I should tell you and your listeners who are listening to us, taxes alone taxes alone that NLA through its actions and inactions in the past have accumulated in debt which have suffered penalties is in excess of 2 billion Ghana cedis that this institution called NLA is confronted with. We have entered agreement with GRA and we are chipping off the mandatory one and appealing to the Ministry of Finance if there can be a waiver on the accumulated penalties and all that, because certainly NLA will find it difficult to pay over 2 billion in taxes. Apart from that, there has been contracts awarded in the past which have not been paid for. There are debts on NLA. Then these other salary compensations. You are talking about the health insurance having been procured for the staff. We've also talking about payment of other fuel allowances, rent allowances, and all that, which are outside the main salary listing for the staff. All this, if you do all the calculations, even if you are a magician, you can't see how the NLA's income can accommodate those demands in one go. So it has been management's position that, well, the board through the Ministry of Finance had approved for 10%. Management had interceded with unions' participation. We pleaded that, well, at least we have a provision for 12% in the budget. Let us put that 12% for this year so that in the ensuing year we can take steps while we improve the inflows of the NLA to see how we compensate for any gaps going into the future. Union...
Yes, continue.
Union said they were not willing to accept that, so they took the matter to Labour Commission. And Labour Commission called for our financial statements. Now, while we were at it, we wrote to Fair Wages on the salary negotiation as far back as January. But Fair Wages didn't respond to our letter until June. And Fair Wages approval came in June, approving 8% salary increment after having assessed our 4-year financial statements together. Given the debt and other things that NLA is confronted with, we could only go 8 percentage points. So there's been that dilemma. If we have at negotiation given 12, and Fair Wages is now recommending 8, what do we do? So at arbitration, management was of the view that we are confronted with the situation of Fair Wages. So we are writing to Fair Wages formally to pray them to relook at their advice, given that management at negotiation had already assured the union of 12%, which they have even rejected. So that is the stage at which we are. And the labor law doesn't allow for agitations and strikes when you are at mediation and arbitration. But sometimes maybe it is a strategy to hit the iron while it is hot, or maybe to cause some other disaffections and all that. But we thought that the most important thing is to carry through the business for which His Excellency the President has seen fit to put us in this office, rather than to allow for certain things to happen to rather put the NLA and government itself in bad light.
Okay.
So I simply approached the Labour Minister, who called the Fair Wages into the meeting with the union, myself and my board chairman, and we had frank discussions. So the Fair Wages is amenable to review its position to reflect what management had earlier assured the union of. And then Minister has also prayed Fair Wages to help in looking at what compensatory factor can be considered if even workers were to accept the 12%. If there are gaps relating to the tax issue, we have a discussion to see how we resolve that going into the future. So that's where we have reached with the matter.
Okay.
And the staff had called off their action, and things are calm. The draw that earlier on delayed in the morning has been carried through, and we are ensuring that things are steady.
So just to be sure, the strike has been called off.
It has been called off.
And
it has been called off.
And you are back to your normal work activities.
Yeah, we are back to our normal work.
Very well.
Back to our normal work. Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
I'm grateful.
That's Mohammed Abdul Salam. He's Director General of the National Lottery Authority, NLA. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's go to the Chamber of Parliament now. Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, is presiding over the House, which has convened under an emergency situation. James Agalga has just been announced as a majority leader. The Speaker has been reading statements in the House. Let's listen.
Leader, by outstanding orders, says majority leader means a member of Parliament designated by the majority caucus as their leader in the House. And as you know, the practice is that the party, under the hand of the General Secretary of the party, communicates that decision of the party to the Speaker. That is what has happened so far. And because of earlier disagreements, we had to relook at it, and we all came out with this definition which is captured in the standing orders. I want to clarify this. So the procedure today may look different. That is why you still see the majority leader is still on his seat, because he's still the majority leader until otherwise communicated by the party and then decided by the caucus and the information passed on. Then you have the usual courtesies that we done on the floor. Honorable members, I am by this going to refer the two nominees, because the others are already substantive ministers and it's just shifting their portfolios. And so we have only two to refer to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House. And that is in respect of the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Zanator Ajman-Rawlings, and then the Minister of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Honorable Mahama Ayarga. I accordingly refer the two to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House. I want to remind the House that the period I gave in my notice is for a sitting of 1 week, and that should be taken into consideration by the Appointments Committee. In other words, the consequential motions will have to be made, and we have to abide by our standing orders. That communication is dated 21st August 2026. On 15th July 2026, as submitted to the Judicial Council for its consideration, the nominations of the following persons for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. A. Justice Sophia Rosetta for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. A. Justice Sophia Rosetta Oduokua Bernasco Isa Mrs. B. Justice Edward Amwako Asante. And C. Mr. Anthony Forson Jr. Following its consideration of the nominations, the Judicial Council advised that the nominees are suitable for appointment to the Supreme Court by a letter dated 22nd July 2026. In furtherance of the constitutional process prescribed under Article 144, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution, I subsequently consulted the Council of State by submitting to the Council the names and curricula vitae of the nominees for its consideration. By a letter dated 20th August 2026, the Council of State informed me that having duly considered the nominations, it found the nominees qualified and suitable to serve as justices of the Supreme Court and accordingly recommended their appointment. Accordingly, and pursuant to Article Benasco Issa Mrs. Justice Edward Amwako Asante and Mr. Anthony Forson Jr. to Parliament for its consideration and approval for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. Their respective curricula vitae are attached for the consideration of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I trust that Parliament will give due consideration to these nominations in accordance with its constitutional mandate to enable the process of appointment to be concluded in due course. Please accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable members, I accordingly refer these nominees to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House within the period prescribed by the notice of recall. It's appropriate at this juncture to invite the minority leader to give honorable members. Honorable members, please, let's have some as honorable members, at least you should know when to applaud and when to remain silent. Definitely, you have the time for him to say what he's going to say, and as backbenchers, you have your role to play. But you should have the patience. You should have the patience for the Speaker to at least conclude his statement. Please, Minority Leader, you may have your bite.
Speaker, with respect, let me thank you for this treasure space to deliver an opening statement for and on behalf of my colleagues. Speaker and colleague members of Parliament, it is my distinct honor and high privilege to deliver this statement on behalf of my caucus. As we gather this afternoon under circumstances no Ghanaian wished to see, you have exercised the power given to you under Order 58.4 of our standing orders, the power that allows you to summon this House without the customary 14 days notice, because the country faces matters that simply cannot wait. Mr. Speaker, we thank you for that judgment. We answer that summons today with the seriousness it takes and it deserves. Before I turn to the business at hand, permit me in a word of tradition. This House does not lose sight of courtesy, even in a season of crisis. Speaker, we congratulate our colleague, Honorable James Agaga, on his elevation to the high office of Majority Leader. He brings to that office many years of experience at the bar and in this chamber. We hope he will use that experience to address, through sound national policy, the bread and butter issues that matter to the Ghanaian people. This minority stands ready to engage him in that spirit, firmly but fairly. We also extend our commendation to the outgoing Majority Leader, my respected senior at the bar, Mahama Ayariga, on his nomination as Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. We look forward to critically examining that nomination fearlessly at the appointment committee. We hope he arrives at that ministry equipped to confront the filth that has overtaken our cities and towns. Fill this ministry hole squarely at the door of government for failing to enact a sanitation policy. Speaker, personally, I am filled with nostalgia. This is a man I've always respected, and I'll dearly miss him in our usual banter on this house floor. Mahama, I respect you. I've enjoyed our friendship. The media sometimes misconstrued the exchanges, but you and I know what we know. Congratulations, and I wish you well and many more accomplishments. Mr. Speaker, permit me also, on behalf of this minority, step briefly outside the walls of this chamber. On the 15th and 16th of August, our party, the New Patriotic Party, conducted regional executive elections across all 16 regions of this country. Thousands of delegates cast their ballots. New regional chairpersons and their executives emerged. And Mr. Speaker, it was done peacefully, transparently, and in good order. We congratulate every member of our party's rank and file who made that possible. It is a credit to our eternal democracy and a signal that this party is steadily rebuilding itself, region by region, for the task ahead. By this, I mean putting Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia back on the ballot and into the presidency. To fix a Ghana that is falling apart in one critical area after one after the other under the watch of the NDC government. To every candidate who will stand for national office when this party gathers in Kumasi in October, win or lose, we wish you well. The strength of our party will be measured not by who wins those contests, by how completely we unite behind whoever does. Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to why this House was recalled. This House has been recalled to consider urgent business. That urgent business is not, on its face, the matter I am about to raise. But, Mr. Speaker, no other paper drawn up before today could have anticipated the shock that met Ghanaians this month, that the government that they elected to reset the governance of this country has, under the watch of Gold Board and Bank of Ghana, lost $1.7 billion US. At today's exchange rate, that is 22 billion cedis gone from a program that was meant to protect our gold, strengthen our city, and support our economy. Speaker, according to IMF report dated 17 December 2025 at page 3, paragraph 56, quote, losses from the domestic gold purchase program and Gold Board's activities should not be borne by the central bank and transparently brought on budgets. Further, the BOG should develop a clear and time-bound strategy for scaling down gold purchases, end quote. Speaker, we hold a firm view that this House cannot convene this week and be silent on that figure. It must become part of our deliberations so that the people of Ghana know that those in charge of implementation of policy must account to the people of Ghana. In keeping with that conviction and in line with the relevant provisions of our standing orders, on the 20th of August 2026, we, the minority, filed through the proper process a motion demanding the establishment of an ad hoc committee under Order 2621A to investigate the loss in full. We ask that this House refer that matter to a committee empowered to summon documents, summon witnesses, and give Ghanaians the disaggregation they are owed. Not a summary, not a slogan. A full account of how much of that $1.7 billion was lost to foreign exchange movement, how much was lost in the prices at which gold was bought and sold, and what judgment, if any, guided the officials who made those decisions. Speaker and colleagues, this matters beyond the number itself. When the Bank of Ghana's own capital is eroded by losses of this size, it is a taxpayer who is called upon to recapitalize. Your city, my city, every Ghanaian city, called upon to rebuild an institution brought low by the decisions the public bears the cost of. That is not a technical matter for economists alone. That is a matter of urgent public importance for this House, under Order 114 of our standing orders, and we, the minority, shall treat it as such. Speaker, we make this point in a context that makes the loss even harder to accept. As we speak, Ghanaians in mining communities across this country continue to suffer kidney failure, lung failure, and other grave conditions at alarming rates because of the extensive pollution that illegal mining has visited upon our water bodies and our air. This has become nothing short of a widespread epidemic, one this government appears to have neither the clue nor the courage to confront. So while Gold Board cannot account for 1.7 billion, an equivalent of 22 billion Ghana cedis, Ghanaians in our mining communities are paying with their kidneys, their lungs, and in other cases, their lives. This House owes them an answer too. Speaker, in the face of the allegations of extortion leveled against me, I have chosen to take high moral ground by submitting myself to the processes of the law. I have accordingly caused writs to be filed in suit number GT 1029/2026, entitled Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin versus Samuel Attah-Mensah and Multimedia Group Limited at the Accra High Court, and suit number GR/ACH/CC/C5/02/2026, entitled Osahin Alexander Afenyo-Markin versus Eric Ejay and Peace FM at the Achimota Circuit Court. I have every confidence that in the fullness of time, the court will make the appropriate determination on these matters. Mr. Speaker, I also await with bated breath that the man or the men who made the allegation will have the courage to report the matter to the police or the OSP or any investigating agency in this country. And I expect that if they muster the courage to report that I have extorted from them and I am invited, I shall submit myself to every investigation so that eventually my name is cleared. Mr. Speaker, there is a limit to political discourse there are lines that must not be crossed. And these red lines, once crossed, they must be dealt with. Mr. Speaker, I can modestly and humbly say that I have served in this position with integrity. I came into this office a man of hard work with determination, and I have achieved for myself what I have to do for myself, my family, and my constituents. Mr. Speaker, I work with clear conscience and with fidelity to the responsibilities entrusted to me. I say so without more. Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to the issue of power in our country. Speaker, our nation was left in darkness. As if that was not enough, we must also draw the House's attention to the general state of power supply in our country. We ask that it be made a pivotal part of our deliberation this week. In the space of 1 month, Ghana has twice been plunged into total darkness. Gridco called it both times, quote, power system disturbances, end quote. The first was on the 29th of July. The second struck barely 3 weeks later at the dawn of 20th of August, when a fault on the Akosombo water line tripped our generating units and left homes, hospitals, and businesses across this country without power for the better part of a day. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians have received nothing beyond TER's statement announcing the outage, and hours or days later, TER's statement announcing its restoration. This was not the power sector Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government handed over in January 2025. In an age when a nation's electricity grid is rightly treated as core national security infrastructure, this House cannot allow such statement to substitute for real answers. We therefore give notice, in accordance with the rota provisions of Order 216-2D of our standing orders, of our intention to push that the Minister for Energy and Green Transition to appear before this House to account fully for the state of our power sector, and or that a probe be opened into causes of these outages. Speaker, we will not allow these matters to be swept under the carpet by press statements. Ghanaians deserve to know why the lights keep going out and what is being done to make sure that they do not go out again. Speaker, permit me to turn to the issue of weaponization of justice. While this government displays its inability in managing our treasury on the grid and elsewhere, there's one department in which it has shown troubling efficiency: the weaponization of our prosecutorial machinery against members of this caucus and, in general, former appointees of Akufo-Addo. We have watched that machinery deployed against our compatriots, including the Ashanti Regional Chairman of our party, Enchibwe Siakun, popularly known as Wuntumi. We have watched, most recently, a controversial warrant from the Chief Justice compelling the speedy prosecution of our members during judicial vacation, a period that has traditionally offered judges, lawyers, and litigants alike a season of rest. This matter, through the effort of one of our colleagues, Honorable Kojo Opon-Kroma of Ofuasi Ayirbi, is now before the Supreme Court for the appropriate legal redress. Speaker, the minority would want to be plain. This is a government that, in its first month in office, filed nolle prosequa after nolle prosequa to discontinue criminal cases against its own members, sympathizers, cronies, and assigns, while lining up its opponent before the court. We are clear on our minds what that pattern means. It is not pursuit of justice. It is an attempt to terrorize this minority into submission, one investigative summons at a time. Now, our resolve, Mr. Speaker, let me be equally plain in response. No matter how far this government goes to suffocate the rule of law in an attempt to weaken this minority's resolve. We will not bend the knee. We are fortified by the veritable words of the 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, who on the 23rd April 1910 delivered an address at the Sorbonne in Paris titled Citizenship in a Republic during his post-presidential tour of Europe. And he said, and I quote, "It is not a critic who counts, not a man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails whilst daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls, who neither know victory nor defeat." End quote. Speaker, we in the minority know that the task ahead of us is difficult. We do not stand here pretending otherwise. The road before us is long, it is steep, it is strewn with obstacles and deliberately laid in our path. But difficulty has never been a reason for surrender. It will not become one now. We will rather be counted among those who dare greatly and stumble in a worthy cause than among the cold and timid souls who never know victory nor defeat. For however hard the struggle and however heavy the odds, this minority is resolved to remain in the arena, faces marred by dust and sweat, striving valiantly for the rule of law, for our democracy, and for the good people of Ghana, who are honored to serve. Mr. Speaker, the people of Ghana sent us into this chamber to protect their interests without fear and to hold this government to account on every inch of executive decision it takes. We intend to keep that mandate without fear, without favor, and without apology. We will not be weighed down by threats, by bogus prosecution, by intimidation, or by frivolous accusation, whether directed at any one of us in this chamber or at any member of our party. For as long as we have life, for as long as we have good health, for as long as we remain members of this house, we will export what we see as wrong and insist on what is right. Mr. Speaker, on the cocoa sector, let me commend the efforts for reforms by the Cocoa Board. However, the reforms being pursued, we, the minority, have identified some gaps. A law was passed. We hold a view that there wasn't sufficient consultations and that there should be further consultation regarding the concerns of the LBCs that were turned down by this government. Haulage or transport owners were not also properly consulted. We have also noted that farmers are now being required to seek permission from government before repurposing their farms. Farmers cannot even undertake routine, genuine actions without recourse to government. Mr. Speaker, farmers cannot sell their cocoa unless they are registered. This has never happened in the history of our country. Mr. Speaker, we call on the majority to reconsider these concerns and come before this House with a motion for rescission so that we can further deliberate on this matter and make input to enrich the bill before Mr. President signs. Mr. Speaker, this House should know that the two items we have given notice of today on the gold ball losses and the other power outages are only the beginning of clear paths in ensuring this government is held to account. Many more such efforts already in motion and will find full expression in this chamber in the weeks and months ahead. We do not intend to let a single matter of accountability rest, for it is said that he who comes to equity must do equity. In closing, Mr. Speaker, let me once again welcome all colleagues back into this emergency meeting. We did not ask to be recalled under these circumstances. No nation should have to be, but Ghana finds itself here, and history will record what this House chooses to do with this moment. It will record whether we looked away from nearly 22 billion Ghana cedis or whether we demanded every cedi to be accounted for. It will record whether we accepted their statement about a darkened nation or whether we demanded the light be restored and kept. It will record whether we allowed the machinery of justice to be turned into a weapon of political fear or whether we stood unbending in its way. Speaker, this minority knows which record it intends to leave. It is our hope that in all our dealings this week and in every week that follows, we will be guided by nothing less than the ultimate well-being and the interests of the Ghanaian people, to whom this House and every seat in it truly belongs. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this treasure space.
Honorable members, please let us now listen to the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, colleague members of the Honorable House, let me join the Right Honorable Speaker and my colleague, the Minority Leader, to welcome all of us back to this emergency recall of Parliament. I believe many of us have been unfortunately rudely interrupted in the enjoyment of our recess. Many have scheduled family travels, vacation times, medical checkups, and very important constituency assignments. And we have been asked to return to consider important national assignments. But looking at the numbers in the House, I want to commend all of us that in spite of the recess period and the many things that we scheduled, we have made time to respond to the Speaker's recall to come and attend to the urgent business that is before us. Mr. Speaker, the items before us relate to the passage of an important financial bill and the consideration of nomination of two of us, your colleagues, to join the executive arm of government. Mr. Speaker, we also have, as you have indicated, the consideration of 3 nominees to the Supreme Court. I want to assure colleagues that we will work together to consider the nominations within the time frame of 5 sitting days, which the Speaker has indicated. To meet this deadline, we will be required to suspend a number of standing orders which place some obligations on us in conducting our jobs at the Appointments Committee and as the House in the consideration of bills. I therefore urge colleagues to support motions that will be moving to request for abridgment of time, to suspend some requirements of public notices so that we can accomplish the task within the 5 days recall that the Speaker has made. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank my colleague, the Minority Leader, for his very kind words about me and my tenure with him in this House, except to say that I'm still the Majority Leader. I have not left yet. And I will soon be leaving. And when I finally will leave, I will deliver my address to the House, during which I would recognize my good days with him, and I want to thank him for all that we have accomplished together, working with integrity, with honesty, and with forthrightness in our relationship. I also want to urge colleagues that we are going to sit for only 5 days. I therefore urge colleagues, as much as we can, to attend the sittings for the 5 days period so that we can accomplish many of the things that we have indicated. Unfortunately, I want to appeal to my colleagues in the minority that many of the issues that you have raised, even though some may be germane, I unfortunately want us to abide by Speaker's directive that this House focuses on the urgent matters, for which reason he has recalled the House. I know for sure that on several occasions in this House, the minority has raised the issue of the matters at Gold Board. And even though you have consistently tried to brand it as losses being run by an institution of government, I believe that I've also witnessed in this House that the minority has urged us to share the glory for the establishment of Gold Board with your flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And I know for sure that in the original design that the NDC government inherited, according to you, there were still what you call losses. Even if the losses have increased, it is because this government have pursued policies that have expanded the volume of gold that has been purchased by the government. Those are facts, and you know the facts. In this House, we have consistently demonstrated that what you call losses are actually costs that this country has to pay in order to maintain the strength of our currency today. What you call as losses is costs that this country has to deal with as a result of maintaining the stability of our currency. All these things have been argued, and we have tried to make a case that this is perhaps one of the best policies that have ever been implemented by any government in this country that has stabilized our currency, that has strengthened our city, and that has maintained inflation at a very low rate up to date. So, Mr. Speaker, having made these arguments, haven't come to this understanding, it is difficult to understand why consistently our friends in the minority want to brand what we all are benefiting from as an economy as a loss incurred by the gold board. I am surprised that we'll continue going along this tangent. But knowing the politics in this house, I know that there are those who believe that if you keep telling a particular story, no matter how untrue that story is, the public might begin to believe that that is the truth. And so I can understand why every single day my friends in the minority will try to pump into the brains of Ghanaians the wrong narrative that Gold Board is running losses. Even as they repeat the mantra that Gold Board is running losses, they are not in the same press conferences saying that as a result of the alleged loss of Gold Board, your city is now stronger than it was when MPP was in office. We are not also telling Ghanaians that as a result of the so-called losses of Gold Board, your inflation is stable. We are not telling Ghanaians that as a result of the so-called losses of Gold Board, we are paying our debts and we are being graded very highly by all the international rating agencies. So you may describe it as Gold Board losses, but we see it as an innovative national fiscal monetary policy that is stabilizing our currency, that is making our economy stronger, that is going to alleviate the poverty of many Ghanaians. And so we stand strongly behind Gold Board and the management of Gold Board. We stand strongly behind the finance minister and the management of the finances of this country. Whatever the World Bank has said, what I understand them to be saying, and the IMF, whatever they have said, I understand them to be saying that even though there will be losses based on the way we have designed the system, they expect it to be borne by the government and not by the central bank. And so reforms are underway to shift the transactions from the central bank to the government. And so I believe that ultimately your major concerns will be addressed. On the issue of energy, I want to assure you that I have the assurance of the Minister for Energy that by the end of September, the issues causing the power outages will be resolved. We're all in this country, and we saw the fire outage that destroyed the transmission substation at Akosombo. We all know that our gas suppliers are having a maintenance schedule which is reducing the supply of gas to the country. And again, we also know that a lot of our energy infrastructure is aging. And as a result of the aging infrastructure, we need to engage in routine maintenance and change. And during these periods, we will be compelled to shut off the power in order to be able to carry out these routine maintenance activities. These, we hope, will be finished by the end of September, and the minister assures us by that time we will resume the stable power that we have been enjoying since John Dramani Mahama became president again. Mr. Speaker, just to indicate that my colleague has raised the issue of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice directive on legal vacation. I have always said that this House should not be interfering in the work of the judiciary. And so I will not comment on that, except to say that if I were an accused person before a court, and the judge says that he will not go on vacation, he will spend time and dispose of my matter expeditiously, I'll be the happiest person. If I were an accused person, because every accused person who believes that he or she has not committed an offense wants the judge to expeditiously consider your matter so that you can rest at home, rest assured that you are not working with a court prosecution hanging over your head. And so I am surprised that an accused person has the benefit of the judge presiding over his case, deciding to cancel his vacation so that he can attend to his matter. And that has become a subject of complaint and protest in the chamber of this House. But as I indicated, I don't want to interfere in the work of the judiciary because I think that it is undermining the independence and autonomy of a coordinate branch of government. I want to also say in response to my colleague, the minority leader, that I believe that this is a country where there is full assurance of freedom of speech, both in the chamber and outside the chamber. And I don't believe that there's any political targeting of anybody freely expressing themselves either in this chamber or outside this chamber. At the same time, I also don't believe that anybody should try to use this chamber or any platform to intimidate the law enforcement agencies when they are cracking down on criminal conduct, be they conduct of politicians, of ordinary armed robbers, of any other citizen. Crime is crime. We believe that we pass laws in this House so that they will be enforced outside there. When the law enforcement agencies are enforcing those laws, we should not come and stand in this chamber and bastardize them and try to intimidate them and try to give their conduct political coloration. It does not help. I have repeatedly said in this chamber that we should not consider ourselves as politicians as being in a special class that can commit crimes and get away with it. When those who steal goats and fowls and guinea fowls are sent to jail because they stole goats and fowls and guinea fowls. When those who steal rams to perform the outdooring of their children are sent to jail. When we steal millions of Ghana cedis as politicians, we think that we belong to a special class, and when law enforcement agencies come after us, we will protest. I believe that this country cannot progress with an attitude like that. And so I don't believe that it is fair when the law enforcement agencies are doing their work for us to come to this chamber and try to bastardize those law enforcement agencies. Mr. Speaker, on that note, let me thank you for the emergency recall of the House. I believe at the very personal level, I will be benefiting from this emergency recall. But I also believe that I'll be benefiting because I will be considered by the Appointments Committee. So I will definitely benefit. I also know that my friends on this side have over the years campaigned for the appointment of my sister, Honorable Zaneto. I believe that in view of the campaign that you have involved in view of the campaign that you have been involved in, you will expeditiously approve her nomination as a Minister of State. I also believe that those that the President has nominated for the Supreme Court, one of them was before this House, nominated during the tenure of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The Appointments Committee, of which I was a member then, did consider the nomination, but for some reason, the House was not able to take the report. So I believe that such a nomination will also not face any obstacles. Again, the other nominee is a very experienced, judge from the ECOWAS, court, and I'm sure that a number of cases that my friend in the minority has taken to the ECOWAS court, has somehow passed through his administration. His nomination, I also believe, will not face any serious opposition. I therefore urge colleagues leading government business here to favorably consider the nominations expeditiously so that we can pass them for the president to complete the appointment process. On that note, I thank colleagues for heeding to Speaker's call for an emergency recall, and I assure all of you very enjoyous short emergency recall. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I am considering whether in future I'll be granting opportunity for the leaders to give welcome remarks, because what has taken place has nothing to do with welcome remarks. We have heard notice being given by the minority leader on behalf of the minority caucus as to the agenda they intend as a caucus to pursue. That definitely has gone beyond the remit of welcome remarks. We have also heard the response from the majority leader, which has gone far, far also beyond welcome remarks. And so I can only say a few words on one thing mentioned by the minority leader, which has to do with the motion they have filed, which was received in my office on the 21st of August, 2026, just 3 days ago. 3 days ago that it got to my office. I have gone through the motion myself, and I intend to admit the motion because we have to at least have an end to litigation. As to whether it's a loss or it's a cost, this House will have the opportunity to go through it. And please, Ghanaians are very intelligent people. They will listen, they will read in between the lines, and they will make their decisions. But it's not proper for us to try to cover up anything. We are now part of the Open Governance Partnership, and we have opened our parliament beyond any other parliament in Africa. And so this is one of the things that, from listening to both sides, not only in the House, even outside the House, both sides are willing to engage and to explain themselves. And I don't think that the Speaker will be the one that will stand on the way of the country. So I intend to do so. But let me also draw the attention of the House to the fact that under our rules, our standing orders, the House, through its members, can also request a recall of Parliament. It's under our rules. If you read Order 59 Rule 2 and 3 is very clear there. And that is when Parliament is on recess, not when Parliament is sitting. So please, that opportunity is there for members, but I will only do so in consultation with the leadership of the House. That is also clear in the standing orders. And so when you request, I have to call your leaders, discuss with them. If we are ad idem, then I'll recall the House. And that time, it could be done within 3 or 4 days, not as I have done in this case, almost a notice of 2 weeks. And so please, this is not a matter that can be considered within this 1 week, because we are now sitting, and the notice has come. We are not on recess. So please, as I stated, let's make sure that we finish the business that was itemized by His Excellency the President within the 1 week. That is what we are here to do. We will not do any new business. And so I am directing the table office to, as much as possible, focus on only this business. We are not going to have question time. We are not going to have any statements. We are here to do these 3 items and then go back to the basic and fundamental function of representation. And that is what recess is about. So I thank you all for coming. Please, honorable members, let us take item 6 now. Correction of votes and proceedings and official reports. We'll start with the correction of votes and proceedings of Friday, 31st July 2026. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7,
A member of Parliament for Boko Central, nominated by the President to be Minister for Local Government and Rural Development. Dr. Zanetta Ajiman Rawlings, Member of Parliament for Koli Klote, nominated to be Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Then 3 other persons nominated to be Justices of the Supreme Court, including former President of the Ghana Bar Association, Anthony Forson, now then Mr. Bernasco, and 1 other person, 3 persons, one of whom was previously nominated and vetted to go to the Supreme Court, but whose vetting did not proceed, or whose nomination was not properly approved by the House of Parliament, and so he never made it to the House of Parliament. Then we also have 2 minister nominees, or 2 minister nominees to face the House's Public Accounts Appointments Committee, or the Appointments Committee of Parliament, and then 3 persons nominated to be Justice of the Supreme Court. Now, before that would happen, though, the 2 leaders of the House had to do the welcome address. Alexander Penyomakin, the minority leader, did his welcome address, in which he mentioned a number of things, including the fact that he has sued the CEO of Goldboard, Sami Jemfi, as well as Multimedia Group, Joy News, and Peace FM, and Erika J. So he has sued Sami Jemfi and Joy News at the High Court in Accra, and sued Erica J., who is CEO of NIP, as well as Peace FM, at the Circuit Court in Achimota. Mahama Yaga spoke as majority leader because he's still the majority leader, according to Speaker, until a formal letter comes from the General Secretary of the NDC saying that James Agaga has been named the majority leader. The House cannot recognize it based on what the standing orders say. So Mahama Yaga, who is still majority leader, said the activities at Gold Board were costs and not losses, and he explained the positive sides to what he terms the so-called losses. So that's in summary what happened in Parliament. The Committee on Appointment would now come out and announce when it intends to do the vetting, and we are expecting that the House would finish everything and retire by Friday. At least that's the information that was shared in the House today. But that has been by way of Eyewitness News tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.